The race season in Sweden is mostly cross-country marathon races in the first half of the year, with cross-country Olympic coming in the latter half of the year. So cross-country marathon, can you define that maybe for people, Alex? Marathon
Yeah.
versus Olympic?
Yeah, so cross-country Olympic tends to be multiple laps of a small circuit, shooting for an hour and a half finish time, whereas a marathon race is normally 2.5 hours plus, and it's tends to be either two bigger loops or one big loop or point-to-point race.
Mm-hmm. Cool. First half is marathon for him of the season. Second half is cross country Olympic. He says, in between these bigger races are numerous smaller road races that I plan on doing. So I assume that's kind of like, local series, whether it's on the weekend or midweek, that sort of thing. How do I blend these smaller road races into my training while keeping focus on cross country marathon? And then how can I transition to cross country Olympic for the latter half of the season? He says, I've suffered from being a jack of all trades in the past and a master of none, so I wanted to avoid this. So you do this cross country, especially mountain bikers, because you have Epic Ride series going on. And then you also have the World Cups and Pro XCTs and UCI XC races, but then also marathon. You have it's all over the map. How do you transfer from between the two?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way they have it set up is the best, right? Because you kind of have marathon at the beginning, and then you're transitioning into XCO, and then you're sprinkling in these road races. I mean, as far as like a trainer road plan, right? Like that would be like a base build, and then going into specialty in a way. But he would have to prioritize, right? Those road races would be like B or C level races, and kind of like you could swap a workout for those and stuff. When we're doing XC races that may not be as important and we're shooting more for a marathon style goal, sometimes we'll do the XC race and then tack on like an hour and a half or an hour or two after it. So like pretty much extending the cool down kind of thing. So you would warm up, race, and then instead of like a 20-minute cool down, you'd just go for a 2-hour ride kind of thing to get the total volume you're looking for. But that tends to be the biggest difference as in terms of systems for me uniquely, as we touched on with the threshold stuff. I don't tend to need to do too much of that. It's more of just like doing 4-hour rides on the weekend if I can kind of thing. Nate touched on it when he said he was going to do DK, is like he doesn't necessarily need to do a 8 to 10 hour, 12-hour, whatever day, but he'd want to get a few longer rides in to understand that. And it's more from a fueling perspective. The issue that I ran into with a lot of the Epic rides was I get to hour 2 or 3 and be flat. Like I wasn't taking in enough carbohydrate. So it's more just a matter of trying to extend out that far so you know how your body's going to react.
Alex, on those, so how many carbs were you eating before and after that you fixed that problem?
I would stick to a gel every half hour, no matter what the intensity was before. So I would say it was went from 40 grams an hour to 100 grams an hour.
And what did you notice, and how did your performance change?
I just feel like I can ride at that intensity forever, like tempo now, and it was awesome. I can't believe I'm spacing on his name, but the Precision Nutrition,
Andy Blow.
Andy Blow, he was saying the trifecta for performance, right, is carbs, fluid, and sodium. So I've actually started paying more attention to sodium recently, but it's true. Like if you can fuel the work, you can have enough fluid and you can have enough sodium on board, you could theoretically go forever if your gut could handle that much intake. So it's a matter of finding what works for you. But as you guys have touched on many times before, it's a super trainable system. Like I wasn't able just to go up to 100 and no problem, we're good to go. You start to scale that up, but also I'm a firm believer in training how you race. So my pre-workout meal, pancakes and Nutella, is the same every day. The only time I don't have pancakes is day off or rest day. On the bike, it's the same. It's just scaling the amount of carbs. And then I tend to have a lot of the same foods, like a lot of rice, a lot of veggies, a lot of lean meats, a lot of fruit as kind of like my core. So I think the temptation on race day is always to do something new and exciting, and this is going to make me so much better. But if you nail your training, you'll nail your race.
Yeah, I'm just laughing thinking of a conversation we were having just before we hit record on the podcast. So
Because I'm going to ride a new bike at a race.
yeah, yeah,
It's exciting. It is exciting. That's for sure.
Exciting. It is exciting. Yeah, Alex, what about going the other way? I'm just thinking if somebody may be in the situation where they're like, they're doing Olympic stuff, then they need to go to the longer stuff. Is it just as simple for you? Like you would just tack on more volume, or would you fundamentally change the way you train a bit more?
Yeah, and I think you have to be okay with giving up a few percentage points in one or the other. Like you can't specialize in everything kind of thing, but I think a lot of the energy systems are the same. So a marathon style race is still going to have those high punches on the climbs and at the start and stuff like that. It's not just going to be a tempo all day, but you're going to have to be able to do those punches and then tempo kind of thing. So it's just overall workload increases. So just making sure that you can handle that. And I think that's the real importance of that 2.5 hour ride I told you about is like 2,800 to 3,000 calories in 2.5 hours is massive. So we would probably burn the same in like a 3-4 hour marathon ride because I'm not pedaling the whole time. I have descents in between and stuff like that. So it's a way to make sure your body can handle that sort of stress.
Yeah. If in this case too, Paul, just speaking directly to you, I really would favor training for, unless cross country marathon is like the goal, I would favor training for cross country Olympic sort of stuff. I find it easier to stretch myself out to marathon because of the nutrition side of things, right? If you are really trained to be able to deal with repeatable efforts, hard, intense work, that sort of thing, and then you have enough nutrition to be able to, keep your body going, you can get away with quite a lot, I feel like, in a marathon race, but still be very, lethal when it counts, so to speak, for those races in the decisive moments.
And it's the type of energy system, like the VO2 max stuff and sprint stuff, like the more explosive the effort, the quicker it goes away. So with those XC events, like you'll need to have that, like sharpen the knife, so to speak, kind of for those really high intense efforts. Whereas marathon, it's like, if you haven't touched on those sprint efforts in a while, you can, like you said, get away with it with some good nutrition.
Yeah. Awesome. If you like that video, you should subscribe to our channel. There's more where that came from. And even like the video down below with a thumbs up or leave us a comment.
If you want to see race analysis videos, click right over here. And if you want to get your coaching questions answered, click over here.
And if you want to become a faster cyclist, head over to trainerroad.com. It works. Trust us.
Just trust us.
We guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. Or your money back.
It's true. Take us up on it.